So just last week, and I feel like it may have gone a little bit under the radar, but Gamebred boxing for Roy Jones Jr. versus Anthony Pettis was announced last week, and I think this is going to be massive, and I'm really looking forward to it. And what is actually going to probably happen is I think I'm going to do a live live boxing fight companion for this card. I think I'll probably buy the pay-per-view and do a live stream and do a fight companion for it, because if you actually look at this, there is no UFC on. It's on the 1st of April. There's no UFC events on between March 25th and April the 8th. That's the 1st of April. That's when this event is on. So, you know that I'm going to be watching this. So, let's just talk about the card. Massive card. Roy Jones Jr. versus Anthony Pettis is the main event. It's a really, really fun fight. I'm going to get to it a little bit later in the video. I'll start off with the prelims and the first fights. Obviously, Roy Jones Jr. should win the fight. I mean, we're talking about a former champion, I believe, multiple weight classes. Unfortunately, I'm not really an expert on Roy Jones Jr. or his career or in boxing. But to my knowledge, this guy, I believe he was a multiple weight class champion. They also went to a draw in that fight. I think some people thought Tyson won, but that was an exhibition fight. But now they're fighting for real. I think this is actually a pro bout as well. But the thing is with the Roy Jones Jr. is he's 54 years old, but we'll talk about that later. Let's just start at the bottom, and I'm going to kind of give predictions, just my thoughts on the card. Please do note I'm an MMA channel. I'm not really the biggest boxing knowledgeable guy, but a lot of these guys are MMA fighters, so I should have a pretty good read on this one here. The first fight of the night's an interesting one. I feel like if you follow bare knuckle boxing, you probably know who these guys are. I don't, but Josh Burns, he had an MMA career of 8 and 10. He wasn't that great in MMA, it seems. He kind of had an up and down career, but my goodness, does this guy love bare knuckle boxing. This guy has fought so much in bare knuckle boxing, it's actually incredible. So he's a bare knuckle boxing guy. He's fought a lot in bare knuckle boxing, and so is Dylan Clickler. A little bit more of a successful MMA career, 11 and 1. That's a pretty good record. He did retire from that in 2019, and now he's gone on BKFC as well, and he went on a pretty good win streak there, and then he lost recently, but now he's going to be putting on the gloves and fighting this 44-year-old man and Josh Burns. Both guys are pretty old. This should be a pretty fun fight, to be honest. Two bare knuckle boxers fighting in boxing. I think it's going to be fun. Nothing too crazy. I don't think anyone really knows too much about these guys unless you follow BKFC quite closely. I've got Chikla. So did everyone else. So that's cool. Pearl Gonzalez taking on Gina Mazzani. I think Pearl Gonzalez should probably win this one too. She is 1-0 in pro boxing, unless she has fought in pro boxing before as well. Yeah, she's just been boxing for longer. Gina Mazzani just isn't really anything too special. So yeah, Pearl Gonzalez is 2-0. Gina Mazzani obviously probably just got dropped from the UFC. But she was piecing apart Shanna Young on the feet before that fight ended. So maybe Gina Mazzani's a good boxer. I don't know. It is what it is. I'm probably going to go with Pearl Gonzalez. I mean, she's fought in boxing before. So we'll go with that. Paul Daly versus Anthony Taylor. Paul Daly, obviously former Bellator fighter. I believe he's had a very long career with Bellator. And yeah, he fought 15 times under Bellator's banner. But now he's going to be fighting in a boxing fight against Anthony Taylor. And Anthony Taylor, to my knowledge, is just the guy that's been fighting at these YouTuber cards. You know what I mean? He fought Chris Avila on the Paul versus Woodley card. And then he fought on the Digi versus Wasabi card. And then like the Dazn cards, the Misfits cards, the Mayweather Digi card. Like, I don't know, dude. This guy's just fighting. I'm assuming he's fighting guys that are just like YouTubers. I don't know. And Paul Daly should win this one, and he's favored to win as well. So we'll move on. Vitor Belfort taking on Ronaldo Jacare Souza. Interesting fight. Interesting that Jacare Souza is going to be coming over to boxing. I think they're offering him a lot of money because Anthony Pettis said that the money that he was offered was enough for him to not even bother re-signing with PFL. And Anthony Pettis was making $750,000 to show up again at PFL. That's serious money, dude. Or maybe it was $500K, but it doesn't matter, right? He was making at least $500K just to show up at PFL, which is unreal. Vitor Belfort, obviously, he fought Evander Holyfield. I believe Evander Holyfield was like 60 in that fight. Yeah, he was almost 60, which is what I'm going to come back to later on. But yeah, Vitor Belfort beat up Evander Holyfield, who didn't really look all that good. And actually, there's a little tag on that fight, which I didn't even notice. But Jacare Souza, he's obviously a somewhat good striker. He fought in MMA for a long time, but he wasn't really known for his striking. He was known for his grappling, you know what I mean? Unless maybe he's been training boxing the last couple of years, but I feel like Vitor Belfort should win this one here. I'm just interested to see what is the... Oh, this is an exhibition bout. I thought that was a professional fight. That's interesting. But yeah, whatever. Vitor Belfort should probably win this one too against Jacare Souza. I don't think it will be as one-sided as the Evander Holyfield fight. Jose Aldo just won his boxing debut against an 0-2 opponent by decision. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't think that Jose Aldo looked super impressive in that fight. Against this Emmanuel Zambrano guy who was like 0-2 or 0-3 in boxing. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, Jose Aldo, he looked sharp, he looked like the better fighter, but I really did expect him to kind of dominate him, and he didn't really, like, he obviously won all the rounds, but he didn't look amazing. And Jeremy Stephens, you know, he's not really the most technical striker in the world, which could maybe play a part in this one here. I think Jeremy Stephens is going to be throwing more volume in the fight, in my opinion. I think he's going to be throwing more volume in the fight. Oh my goodness, there's a massive spider right by my bed. Anyway, I think Jeremy Stephens will be throwing the more volume, but Jose Aldo is going to be throwing the sharpest shots. If Jose Aldo couldn't finish that 0-2, 0-3 guy, I don't think he's going to finish Jeremy Stephens. So give me Jose Aldo by decision in this matchup here. And now to the main event, Roy Jones Jr. versus Anthony Pettis. This is a very, very interesting fight because I believe it is going to be a professional bout. This isn't an exhibition fight or anything like that. This is a professional fight. Anthony Pettis has been washed in UFC and MMA, over at the PFL. He has not been looking all that great. But now he's fighting Roy Jones Jr. And as I said, I'm not really a Roy Jones Jr. expert, but I understand that he was a multiple weight class world champion. He did fight Mike Tyson in that interesting exhibition fight, which was kind of cool, I guess. Jake Paul was on that card too. Dude, I did not even remember that. But anyway, the point is, interesting fight. Really, it really is an interesting fight. I mean, Anthony Pettis, what weight class are they going to fight at? Because Roy Jones Jr. probably fought Mike Tyson at what, heavyweight, I would assume? At heavyweight. So, like, how much is he weighing? How much did he fight? What weight did he fight at last? At 200 pounds? 200 pounds. He fought at 200 pounds in his last fight. How big is Anthony Pettis going to be? This is an interesting fight, but I was going to say, it's like, Roy Jones Jr. is 54 years old, and we saw how bad Evander Holyfield looked, and he was almost 60. Like, I know there's probably a big age gap between that 5 year, and I know Roy Jones Jr. is probably still sharp, but man, they must be paying both of these guys a lot of money. Anthony Pettis, as I said, turned down his PFL deal, and Roy Jones Jr., I'm looking at this big spider, guys, massive spider. Roy Jones Jr. is 54 years old, hasn't fought in years, and now he's fighting Anthony Pettis. You know, he's not even a boxer, so interesting fight, in my opinion, but I do think that Roy Jones Jr. is going to win. But am I confident in saying that? No, not really, because he's 54. Like, I feel like the age really plays a factor in this matchup. I think it's going to be a decision. I don't think he's going to finish Anthony Pettis, but interesting to see how many rounds it is, too. It's 8 rounds. 8 rounds. It could be tough for Roy Jones at 54 years old. Like, I don't know, that's a pretty old age to be fighting, man. I'm going to be honest, but I think Anthony Pettis, you know, transitioning to boxing so late in his career after he's taken so much damage in MMA. It's interesting, though. But if Anthony Pettis, like, beats Roy Jones Jr., like, does he just, like, pursue boxing all of a sudden and fight someone else? But I'm very interested to see what weight class this is going to be. You know, because Anthony Pettis fought at 155 in PFL. Roy Jones Jr. just fought at 200 pounds in his last boxing fight. He fought at heavyweight against Mike Tyson. I'm interested, but I'll leave the video there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you're interested in this card. I will be doing a live fight companion most likely for the card. And, yeah, I'll see you in the next video. If you made it this far, please do subscribe, comment, like, all that. I'll give out my my predictions for the next UFC card tomorrow. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.